interesting ones with you. So a few of them that I forgot to mention, and there's not many, but there's a good handful, kind of happened almost that summer right after I ran into them and before I started noticing all the tribal members. And what had happened is I was riding home from the neighbors. You know, I'd gone over there. They had a bonfire, and they all wanted me to come and hang out and party with them because I was good friends with their young kids. So I had the horse down there because, well, my Mustang's the only mode of transportation I have. So Mom told me, well, I only want you out till 11:30. Don't come home any later than that. So I was riding home about 11:30. 11:40 ended up because I stayed a little too late. So I'm riding home, and this is just around the corner, not even half a mile away. Now, normally I'd kind of beeline it through the woods and, got to go through that route, but I'd already had a bad scare thanks to the other two I saw, and I didn't really feel like chancing it in the woods. And the moon was almost full. We call it a cattle rustler's moon because there's just enough light to see where you're going, but not enough light to make out a whole lot. Basically, the old timers, they'd use that kind of moon to steal cattle because you could see the cattle you were moving, but nobody could really make out your face and say, you took my cows. So I finally hit the corner, about, the same button right up next to them woods where I saw we saw the people the last time. And I'm shining my headlamp around. I got it over my neck like a pendant, and I'm shining it around, and I shine it up a 4-foot embankment into a pine tree. And about 13 feet up in this pine tree, I'm catching these two almond-sized eyeballs looking at me. I'm catching eye shine. And it ain't no possum, it ain't no owl, and it ain't no coon. Because the spread on these things had to have been at least 7 inches apart. Now, I don't know no raccoon that's got a head where the eyeballs are wider than 7 inches. Even a brown bear, some of the biggest brown bear that you can find up in the Rockies only have a spread of about 5-6 inches. So this had a bigger spread than the brown bear. Well, because we were coming down a hill, I couldn't spur the horse up into a run because that's a good way to break the horse's leg. And if the horse goes down, you go down. And, well, you both go down, then you're toast, especially if you got one of them over there by you. Well, he never made a move out of the pine tree, but we moved a little quicker down that hill. And once we hit the bottom, I was constantly turning around looking behind me to see if he was coming back in behind me. And when we hit the bottom of that hill, man, I tell you, we beat feet for home. We had about a quarter of a mile to go. And I tell you what, that little Mustang pony, we made that quarter of a mile probably in 10 seconds flat. That's the fastest I've ever seen this horse run outside of a few other encounters with some other cryptids I had. But we made it home, and boy, I was happy to be in that yard late. I think the horse was too. So that was that encounter that happened that I forgot to mention. One of the other encounters, I didn't see him at the time, but I knew what it was because there's no mistake. Now, some people will talk about encounters and they'll hear like a roar or something. Well, I was fortunate enough to hear these roars. It was that same year, basically, of 2019, which I thought was a quiet year. Looking back on it, it actually wasn't quiet at all. But I was sitting out there fixing a fence, and we were about 2 days before rifle season. And I'm kind of, chilling out. Next thing I know, it sounded like on the other side of our block, which is exactly a square mile, I heard really loud, really distinct. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay then. About 20 seconds later, farther out, and a lot deeper, I heard. So I guarantee you, from what I can tell, is it was the male and female conversing, saying, I'm here, where are you? Well, I'm over here, it's deer season, let's all get down the swamp. And that's about where they were all headed, was deep into the swamp. And I'm guessing that's where they all like to go for deer season. Most of them not to get shot at. So then that winter, everything got pretty quiet, and I didn't hear much of them too much, except for come around January, February. Well, January it was interesting because we had a lot of snow. But I had decided to go out and ride. I'm taking my horse out. So I'd go down into one of my cousin's places. I go down into the cedar swamp, and I'd ride down there on the trail. Well, the horse started looking across this swamp, and I kind of was looking in the direction he was looking, and this is when I noticed the upright walking figure. And it was kind of quartering away from me, walking around the edge of the swamp. I didn't see the face too much. But this time, I got to see the body of a Sasquatch that I now know his real name of Anton. And he is the one that I've seen his face in later accounts, and I've seen him multiple times. And I described him the last time I was on as having black hair, but with like a graying around the mouth. Well, that ain't the only places that he's grayed out on. Because when I saw him full body this time for the first time, he was probably about 89, 90 yards out. And he's, like I said, he was kind of quartered away, so I saw his back. Darker hair, shorter black hair. You know, it wasn't too long and shaggy. It wasn't unkempt. He was very clean, very tidy, very neat. No mats, no tangles. Big graying patch all over his back, kind of like a silverback gorilla. It's the only way I could really describe him. And I could see the bottoms of his feet, and they were like a slate gray. I could see his hands were kind of curled up. He was kind of, every once in a while, he'd kind of turn a little bit and peek over his shoulder at me. So, you know, we kind of thought that was a little odd. He's sitting there, kind of got this goofy looking feeling, you know, okay, well, maybe we should be down in this cedar swamp. So we found the next trail out of there, and we got out of the draw. And, you know, after that, it's kind of when he decided to start coming around the house quicker. And shortly after that was when the tent encounter happened. Well, before I really saw his face, in between the face encounter and the tent encounter, I kept getting that feeling like I was being stalked from the other side of the road. Finally, one day I got sick and tired of it. I said, man, I don't know if you're trying to hunt me or what you're doing, but I sure don't appreciate it. If you just want to come say howdy-ho, then just say howdy-ho and leave me be. Well, then that feeling's quit, and the shadows stopped moving. And, you know, everything went pretty smooth after that. And one of the last encounters that I believe I forgot to tell you all about was the 4th of July incident of 2020. I'm staying out in tent, and our neighbors had originally told us, no, we're not going to do fireworks. Well, I guess they changed their mind, and they forgot to tell us, because when fireworks go off, we have to watch our livestock. The loud flashing and banging, it will scare the horses. If the horses are not accustomed to it, they will go through a fence. I actually one year had to untangle a horse from a fence. I've had cows go through fences. You know, it's a mess. So we camp out with them, and we keep a good eye on these horses. And then all of a sudden, the fireworks start shooting off about 11 o'clock at night. Now, normally that's cutoff.
I bet you've probably been to the doctor's office in the past few months. I bet you had to hand over personal info, like your insurance, your ID, maybe even your social security number. And I bet you weren't thinking about how your doctor is your personal information. If any one of them isn't careful, it's a good bet they could accidentally expose your data to hackers and identity theft, putting you at risk. Fortunately, LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a LifeLock US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back, with plans covering up to $3 million for stolen funds and expenses. Don't take chances with your personal info. Help protect it even when it's out of your hands. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code iHeart. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code iHeart, or go to lifelock.com/iHeart for 40% off. Terms apply.
This Labor Day, say goodbye to spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with WashableSofas.com, featuring Anabe, the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $6.99, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabe's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through Labor Day, get up to 60% off site-wide at WashableSofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
I've got Dan Morgan here in the pod. Say hi, Dan.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going good, man. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Dan Morgan. I'm an attorney and a managing partner at Morgan & Morgan, which is America's largest injury law firm.
That's pretty awesome. I think I saw a billboard of yours recently that said 20 billion. What? 20 billion is an insane number.
Yeah, 20 billion recovered. It's actually, I think, somewhere north, probably closer to 22, 23 after this year. And each year we get bigger and badder, and our army grows, so the number will hopefully keep getting bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Awesome. So how does someone get in contact with Morgan & Morgan? What would I do if I got into an accident?
Probably the easiest way is dialing pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. We are always open. Our call center is always waiting to take your call. 24/7, 365.
Wow, Dan Morgan. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Thanks for coming by the show.
Thanks for having me. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Well, our neighbors got a late start. And right before the fireworks started, I could hear the troop moving right through the woods, the poplars, across the other side, backside of my horseback. You could hear them moving, and you could tell there was a few of them. As soon as them first fireworks went off, it was full on. Like World War III had happened or something happened and the civilians were scattered. I mean, you could hear them running every which direction possible. We had 3 go back across the road, 2 took off into the neighbor's woods. I had one poor guy he came flying up into my woods, and I had a teepee that I had built, and they had come and were very, very accustomed to it being there, and I guarantee you they were hiding. And they ran right for the teepee, but the teepee is gone. And they're running around the woods, and they're panicking. So I quick step out of the tent, and I come walking over to the edge of the woods, and I told them, I said, as long as you're on this property, you're okay. Nothing's going to get you. It's all right. It's just the neighbors being dumb. Just stay over here until they're done. They'll be done about 2 o'clock in the morning. You'll be all right. Just hunker down and be okay. Well, I heard the rustling stop, and I went back in the tent. I'm like, well, there's no reason for me to be out here and be all up in the way. So I go back in the tent, and I hunker down, and I lay back down, listen to the fireworks, and I could hear it. I could hear it walking. It walked right out of our woods, and I kid you not, we got a pine tree right next to our house that's like maybe only 5 foot away. And I heard it walk right up behind that pine tree, and it stood. I could hear its fur hitting the house and running into that pine tree. And it's just standing there, right between the house and the pine tree. And it's hunkering down. It did everything that I told it to do. It's hunkering down. Now, like I had mentioned a few other times, I do sing in multiple languages. I know 5 different Native American languages, as well as 3 European languages, including Russian and most Nordic languages, which includes the Swedish language. I can sing in just about all of them. Now, for some reason, they love singing in general. They love music, but they really enjoy the Native American tongue, probably because it's the closest to theirs. So I sang what is called the Lakota Lullaby, and you can look it up on YouTube. You can look it up anywhere you can find music. And it's really a very relaxing song. And I knew he's still there, and I knew he was pretty nerved up. So I started singing it to him, and he calmed right down. And when I was done, you could tell he was just chilling. So I flipped over and I went to sleep. Well, the fireworks quit at about 2 in the morning. And I heard him pick himself up and walk off. And it was like, well, at least he was comfortable enough coming up that close to our house and actually just chilling there while these fireworks went off. I felt so bad for him. I mean, it'd be like taking fireworks down to a tribe in the Amazon and taking fireworks down there and lighting them off and watching the people scatter. They've never seen anything like that. They don't know what that is. To them, it's a big, scary ball of fire and flames. I mean, shoot, them squatches, they probably thought they were getting shot at. I mean, it was horrible. I felt so bad for him. But at least I could help that one figure out that he wasn't going to die that night. So really after that, a lot of hoops, a lot of hollers. Shoot, this spring, back in, I think it was April, me and my husband, we were going down to the creek that we normally go to. We had the horses down there. And we were doing some laundry and hauling some water because, we had no water in the house and we still don't. So we'd go down and we'd take it from the creek. We'd do our washing and our laundering and all that stuff down there. So we're sitting down in there, we're getting ready to leave, and next thing we know, we hear what sounds like a hoot owl going off on one side of the creek. Then about, 50, 60 yards away from that one, we'd hear like a crow call. But these didn't sound quite like normal hoot owls and crow calls. I look at my husband and I'm like, man, do you hear that? He says, yeah, I'm hearing that. What the heck is it? It ain't no birds. I said, no, it don't sound like birds. And it just kept kicking up, and the pitches kept getting weird, and it just really kept rolling. And then all of a sudden they stopped. I mean, we tried so hard to get it on video. I think he got a recording of it, but I'm not sure. I know when I tried to record it, it really didn't end up very well at all. You couldn't hear anything other than my heartbeat. But not even 10 minutes later, we were getting ready to ride out of there, and my cousins come down the trail with their dirt bikes, and our horses spooked. So I'm thinking there was a hunting party going through that swamp, and they got interrupted by the quads and by the dirt bikes, and they were kind of warning each other out of it. But they inevitably they ended up warning us too if there was something coming. But no, that swamp down in there, that's about the same area that I saw Anton for the first time, and it was actually down in that swamp that I learned his name. And you hear people talk about mind speak, and you got other people who will talk about how they can actually talk. Well, I don't doubt that they can talk, and I know for a fact that they can do a telepathic mind speak, because that's how he told me. Basically, I'd seen him a lot. I knew he was around. I wanted to know more about him. So I basically just kind of threw the question out there, man, I'm getting tired of calling you the Black Harry thing. I'd kind of like to know your name, be a little more formal. I know you know my Navajo name, which is Kai, because it's used a lot around here. I said, I know you know my name. Well, let's make this even. What is your name?
Thank you.
And later that night, I was out in the camper, because I'd moved into the camper at the time, out of my parents' place. I swear I heard it as clear as day. My name is Anton. And I've posed that question before. I've asked him, I said, is your name really Anton? And these suckers, they can throw a vibe out, man. They can tell you through just how they make you feel, whether or not they like you or not, whether or not they want you in that spot, whether or not they're friendly or hostile. And it was like a calm, almost like a peace kind of hit me. Like, okay, he knows my name and now I know his. And honestly, in a way, that's kind of started out a very good friendship between us. I mean, we're not buddies, we don't go skipping down the road holding hands singing Kumbaya. By no means do we do that. But we do talk. I talk mostly to him, and, he understands a lot. We kind of exchange some rocks and stuff just because I like my rocks and so does he. But kind of what touched me the most, and this is something that I noticed, is earlier, 2 months ago, I had to put down a foal of mine that I had brought up and raised for the last year. He was born blind, and I had always taken the best care of him I could. He was a little red and white pinto, mostly white like his mama. And his name was Anakin, and it means soldier in Lakota. Because he was a fighter, he was a trooper.
Yes.
Well, he ended up colicking, and we had to make that hard decision to put him down because he suffered. And we buried him out in the field. And on occasions, I'll go out there, and there will be, my husband, he'll go out there and he'll place grass down. I'll go out there and I'll do the same thing because that was kind of our ritual, our little routine with him, is we give him grass when he was still around. But there will be time that I'll find like dandelions or clover or something down there. I'll find a couple of really cool looking crystal quartz, not big ones, just little small ones, like little pebbles, but they'll be kind of placed around in a circle. And you'll see impressions in the ground of where something very big had come through. Now, I know the night that we ended up burying him, and I was in the house, I know he came to visit. I know Anton came around because I was pretty in distress. I was very shaken up. I'd lost one of my little buddies. And he could tell that. And these things, they know when we lose people and things we care about. I've heard of people who've lost dogs, and they'll bring little things and they'll, put stuff over where the dog is buried. Or, they'll come around, and it's almost like they're doing a last respects kind of thing. They understand loss. Obviously, it's a living, breathing thing, so they lose members of their family like we lose ours. And what got me the most is he didn't have to come around after I lost the baby. He didn't have to come around here, but he did. And even now, without we're in October, I've even caught shadows going across our field come dusk. I've seen things over the grave and by the marker, and there'll always be something left behind. There was one time my husband actually went out there to put grass on the grave where we had buried him, and we've gone out there the next morning, and the grass has been pushed down into the ground.
Nice to meet
and covered up.
If you didn't hear me.
Now, we know no deer came and ate it because you could see where it was pushed and buried. So it was almost like he didn't want something to get that grass that was meant for that foal, and he decided to put it under the ground.
We get some rain.
So it's been a very interesting relationship between us, and most of my encounters are with him now. There is that blonde one that I mentioned talking about. We saw him 2 days before bow season opened up. We were going for a walk with the dogs, and he darted out from behind a tree. My husband's caught glimpses of him. Well, I can tell you, in just over a year's time, he's gone from being 5 foot and probably about 200 pounds to about 8 foot and about 600 pounds. He definitely grew, and I know he's still growing. But he kept that real blonde coat, man. I mean, shoot, he's gonna have a hard time hiding if he really wants to. But they grow and they keep getting bigger. First time I saw Anton, he was about 8 feet tall, and shoot, now he's 12 plus. I don't think these things quit growing. I really don't. But, as they get older, they might, like people, they might shrink. But, for that, I don't know. But anywho, before I take up too much time, those are the encounters that I forgot to mention. And those are just some of the tidbits and snippets that I forgot to say to all y'all. And, well, now that is done and said, hey, maybe there'll be more to come. If so, I look forward to it, like I said before.
Well, that's it for tonight's show. If you've had a Bigfoot sighting and would like to be a guest, please go to mybigfootsighting.com and let us know. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.
many places that has your personal info. And if any of them accidentally expose your details, you could be at risk for identity theft. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second. If you become a victim, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code iHeart, or go to lifelock.com/iHeart for 40% off. Terms apply.
This Labor Day, say goodbye to spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with WashableSofas.com, featuring Anabay, the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $6.99, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slip covers are made.
LDS Church plans for a new parking lot downtown. It may not be legal. Alright, I will see you guys till the next time. Have a good day. Have a blessed day. And stay positive. So, see you later tonight. Bye bye now.